Okay, welcome to the ProFrame 2015 training videos. In this video, we're going to go over the customer file maintenance. So let's get started. I'm just going to start from the program itself rather than start from the desktop. So we're just going to go into customer file maintenance global. Now the difference, let me explain the difference. Single essentially allows me to just locate a single customer and be able to locate him and then go in and edit him, okay, real easily, okay. The global will load my entire customer database. Now I've got 7 customers. You may have 2,500 customers, so it's going to take it a little bit longer to load 2,500 customers. But we're going to do this so that I can show you how you can edit, multiple customers and then do a save all at the very end. So what we've done, the program has loaded up the customers in what we'll call a session. So if I wanted to edit a customer, for example, I would locate them if I needed to by name, account number, or phone number. In this case, I'm just going to double click this guy just to show you how I can edit this particular customer. Let's say that I want to change his phone number. Okay. Then I would just click apply. Then I can drop down and actually edit another customer. Maybe something's different, or maybe the phone number, or I'm correcting something. Maybe I'm going to enter a new phone number. Okay. A toll-free number. Well, that would be a 800, wouldn't it? Okay. Then I'll apply. Well, what I've done, I've made changes to 2 different customers, but at this point, I've actually not saved anything back to my databases. Okay, so I could actually quit here. The program would tell me, are you sure you've made changes here? Are you sure you want to quit without saving? So if I answer yes, it would quit and not save those 2 things I just did. But in this case, I'm going to select no, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and click Save All. And now I've actually saved those 2 changes that I made to those 2 customers, okay? Now if I were through with customer file maintenance, I would just exit out. Or I could minimize this down and actually go into another program. For example, I could go into, let's say, inventory. So I've actually got customer file maintenance running and I'm in an inventory session, okay? So that you can do that kind of thing. But keep in mind of something. Since I've just made changes back to the database, and if I stay in the customer file maintenance, someone else that's on my network, they may access possibly the same customer. Well, if I trust that nobody else is making any changes to the system, then when I come back here, an hour later with this still running, and maybe I went back to this guy, well, how would I know that someone else may not have made changes to this guy because I'm still got the old copy? Okay? So it's good to be able to have multiple programs running, but then it's not so good to do that when I have other users on my network that are changing customers possibly, okay? So in that case, before I come back, I would just click refresh and just let the program reload all these customers from the database file. So now I've got the latest information, okay? Well, let's go ahead and edit a customer. I'm going to drop down to this guy, and I'm just going to double click right there, and I'm in edit mode. And what we're looking at is basically the billing information. This is where we're going to send the invoices. This is who we're going to call when we're looking for money, for payment, and such as that. So this is the billing account. Now I'm going to just press the tab key to move through these different fields. So I got his customer name, and I got their address, If I had a second address line, I could put it there. In this system, it'll track your zip codes for you, and it'll save the city and states with those zip codes. So a lot of times if you just enter the zip code, it's going to pull the state and zip in for you, okay? And let me kind of show you that. I'm going to change the zip code. For example, I'm going to go through the process of actually adding a zip code. So I'm going to change the zip code to 2, I'm just making something up, 4, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to press enter. Well, the first thing the program did, it's listed my zip codes because it couldn't find that zip code that I just entered. If it had of, it would have just pulled the city and state in for me. But in this case, that zip code does not exist. So I'm going to go ahead and click the add button here. And then I'm going to, enter the code, which is the same as the zip code that I'm trying to enter, 24123. I'm just going to press enter. Okay. So I'm just going to enter any city, and I'm just going to put Alabama since that's the state I'm in. I'm not going to worry about a local city. This particular zip doesn't really involve a local city or locality for shipping. Okay. I could enter a default territory code for this particular area. That's always good because that will automatically populate itself when I add a ship to account with this same zip code, as well as a tax code. Okay. So I'm just going to click apply. Then what the program's done is added that zip code. Now it's brought in the city and the state here, see? So I'm just going to tab through. There's my contact and so forth. And I actually entered that 800 number. I'm going to take it back out. Okay, and I'm tabbing. Class is really a user-definable thing that you can enter whatever you want to, and you can distinguish certain customers by, coming up with a user-defined class. You would be able to print a report, for example, of customers, and you could actually enter a class that you were interested in printing on your report. The credit limit is just how much money that we will allow this guy to owe us before we start figuring whether he should be on credit alert or not. Okay. Now the terms is set up from the lookup table, which controls how this account is handled. In this case, he's on a 30-day term, and then we're going to have aging hold days of 10 days. What that means is when it comes to my credit alert over here, the system will read automatically because I'm telling it to have auto alert on automatic. What it's going to do is read the terms 30 days. It's going to pick up an invoice to see is it 30 days owed. And then it's going to add 10 days to it before it tries to trigger this stuff over here automatically. So really this hold days is almost a grace period. So he's got 30 days plus 10 days. So it's 40 days before the system would automatically put them on credit alert. Now it has, and I'll show you why. I'm just going to click aging and show you why, because this guy's got, and of course this is old demo stuff, so this guy's owing us money for a long time, so he's been automatically put on credit alert. And it was essentially this terms and that aging hold days which actually automatically put him on credit alert. Now this feature, this lockdown, means that I'm physically I'm telling the program that this guy's locked down, and I'm also telling the program that when the credit alert goes off, okay, when this guy pays his bill, and he doesn't have any more invoices that's beyond the terms and the aging days, the system will automatically turn this off. Okay? Now that doesn't mean this customer's locked down. What that means is right now his credit alert's off. So if he falls back into credit alert, what that means is that the customer's actually locked down to the point that no one can create a new work order on this account without permission. If this were turned off, then you're going to get a warning that this customer's over credit limit, but it will actually allow you to just answer yes to go ahead and do the work order. Okay? If I turn this off, then these things are really manually controlled essentially. So I would have to manually turn this guy on credit alert on or off, or lock him down on or off. So in this case, I've manually set this customer to be locked down because he's on credit alert. If I left it like that, then he's just simply on credit alert. Again, locked down means I cannot create a work order unless someone knows a password to actually get past it. Okay? And I'll show you that later. But that's how this works, and it works in conjunction with terms and the aging hold days. So I'm going to set this guy back to where he was. And so, of course, this is sales tax, force item sales tax on or off during order entry. And this customer, we want to print a statement on any open invoices. We want to print a statement. So that's billing. Now this part is they're only seeing it here. Okay, so these don't print anywhere. A customer never sees it. Only in-house can see these notes. It shows up on order entry, for example. Okay. All right, that's the billing. All right, now we got labels and letters. I'm going to kind of skip that for now. What I want to do at this point, I want to go to the Ship To tab. Now what this is, it allows me to have multiple Ship To locations that we ship or sell products to. And everyone, no matter who they are, is going to have at least one Ship To. All right? And what this allows me to do, I'm just going to double click this guy. And it's essentially the same thing. I've got a name, address, I've got a contact, different phone numbers. And this is where I set up my routes, up to 5 for this particular customer. If I've got delivery trucks, that's essentially what that is. This guy's defaulted to be a delivery, okay? Or it could be default drop ship. So during order entry, this is what this account's going to default to in that work order. And it's going to show you these two that you can choose from during that order entry in order to put them on a route for that particular work order. This, because I've got multiple warehouses set up in this demo, I can set up an account and actually assign him to a warehouse. Okay? That only that warehouse can do, see that customer and do work for that customer. Sell that customer products. I'll explain that later in another video, okay? Well, I can either, I can actually turn this account on or off. I can make him inactive or active. Now, active simply means that he's not gone. It's just that he's not going to get listed in our order entry process, okay? This is a business type, so I'm able to set this up and more or less tell the system what type of customer this is, what his hours, business hours are, and this is mostly for sales call sheets that I'll cover in another video. Okay. If I go to notes, this is a place where I can put notes, a default note on work orders. default notes that will print on all invoices, and then a hot notes, okay, that kind of shows up during order entry, and it pops up. Every time I do an order for this guy, these hot notes will pop up. This button to the left here is really opening up a comment selection from my setup. I have lookup tables, and one of them is comments. So I can go in and type in standard comments that you can easily choose from in the system rather than having to retype something over and over and over again. You know, maybe you need a note on work orders for this customer that says, you know, they only want true view glass. Okay, that's all they ever buy. They don't want anything else. Okay, you could do that in the notes. But I'm going to show you something later, though, that will kind of cover that in my profile that can cover vendors. Well, actually, this does. I'm wrong. It's not profiles, it's vendors. Because I do have what's called preferred vendors. So you could, for example, on this customer, I could just select, you know, a certain molding vendor that this customer prefers designer molding. So during work order, the user is going to know that because it's going to let the user know that. Okay, I'm going to leave this guy set like that. So I'm going to do glass too, so that when I do order entry, we can kind of see where that's coming in. Okay. Then I've got email, so I can set up an email account for this guy. I can tell the system whether I want him on the email list, and of course it's not going to let me turn it on unless I've got an email. And then there's a postal mailing list. So there's a few options here that you can set up. Now this class, if it's set to PW, this has a lot to do with my website, because I can actually develop you a website that will almost interface with this product. So this particular field is used for public website listing, which means that if I set this to PW and I've got the website feature on this program, then I'm telling the program that I want this product listed on my public website. Okay. All right. I'll go back to here, and I'm just going to apply that to make sure I save it. I'm going to go back to billing and go ahead and apply and save all just to make sure I get that saved. Then I'm just going to go back into that same customer, and we'll look at AR history. This is just a history of what we do. There's some sales, and there's a payment. Okay, and I could print from here, or I could print payments. And what it's going to do is just kind of give me that payment and break it down for me and tell me what invoices that it paid for. Okay. Let's look at aging. Aging is just, I mean, it's exactly what it is. He owes for 2 invoices that's still open for payment. And if I had any open credits, they would show up here. And here I can print an aging report. I could you know, print that out. Statements. Okay. Discount. Now I can set up a unique discount for this customer only. But what I've got this customer on, I've got him assigned to the platinum discount class. So he takes on whatever's in my platinum. Okay. I'm going to jump out real quick and go to catalogs. Well, not catalogs, my discount. I'm going to go to this class. See how I've got a platinum discount structure? And I've only got one thing, but I could have 20 different discounts across here covering all different types of catalog items and such. So essentially what I'm doing with this customer is I'm assigning him to that platinum. And if I wanted to, I could add unique discounts that could even be better than one or two that might be in the platinum. See? So I have the ability to do that. Period sales is just going to show me the customer's current year, last year, and previous year sales. Detailed sales is going to allow me to enter a date and set the filter and look at everything I've sold that customer. Okay? And I'm looking at line items here. Profile just gives me another screen to set up a title, the source where they may have come from. And again, that comes from my comment selection. Sales tax number, if they have one. Are they on the mailing list? You know, are they on the, can I mail the invoice to them? Or, you know, can I email the invoice, email a statement? Are they on the mailing list? And of course, the email, I'd have to have an email address. And this is a way, there's a collection agreement in this system so that I could turn this on and say, well, he owes me, you know, $500. And I've turned that on, and what it's going to do is indicate to that customer on every invoice, it's going to add that $500 to an invoice, you know, until they pay it. Or really, I think it works like adding $50. So every time they do an invoice, it adds $50 to that invoice, and so they're paying on a previous balance. So that's what that is and how it works. Okay. And then credit cards, if I can set up credit cards for this customer, and when I'm posting payments, I can select from these credit cards that I may have on file. And as you see, they're encrypted. Okay. So that pretty much covers the customer file and how to get around it. I'm kind of running out of time, so I'm just going to apply that. And so that's customer file maintenance. So thanks for watching the video.